They thought they were pulling the trigger on just another girl, 3 shots quick cold like muscle memory. You know, like they'd done it before, like she was just a name in a report, some warning on a police radio, and not a person at all. They had no clue who she was, and Lord above, not a single damn idea who her mother was, and that, right there, was the thing that blew their whole world apart. Yeah, that happened, and nobody saw it coming at her. 17, brightness rolling off her like a sunrise. After rain, bouncing down her own street in her cheer uniform, headphones in, backpack swinging, smile wide, dreams alive, totally oblivious to the darkness already winding up to hit Herschel. You've been a safe walk home. You'd think quiet as a church on Sunday, but you know what I mean? Some neighborhoods never get that kind of peace, not with squad cars rolling slow behind you, all sirens swallowed, lights off. Just a hush that's so cold it cuts you deeper than any warning shot. And the next second, her whole world flips over. No warning, no command, no hands where I could see him, just silence, then thunder. And she's gone, her blood soaking into concrete, her story ending right where it should have just been starting. And those officers? They step back, radio in the code, voices steady like they're ordering black coffee, not announcing the end of a life that hadn't even left high school. And folks gather, because that's what we do now, right? Phones out, hands shaking, voices breaking, but the damage is already written deep in the air, the kind that changes the way a whole block breathes. You can feel it, this shift, like the world is holding its breath, waiting for her name to get stuffed into another headline, waiting for another family to break on live TV. But this story wasn't about to play out by the usual script, no sir, because nobody's standing on that cracked up sidewalk, not the cops, not the neighbors, not even the ones holding up their phones, streaming it to the world. None of them realized who her mother was. Her mom was miles away when the call came, doing something simple, ordinary, until the moment her name hit her only child gone, erased, and the sound of it landed in her chest like a grenade. A lot of folks would collapse, beg for cameras, for answers, for someone to just say why. But this woman, let me back up a sec, wasn't just anybody. She was a tactical commander, ex-elite force, the kind who stared down hell and walked out without blinking, the kind who's ended wars, rescued hostages, done things you and I can't even dream in that uniform. Packed away years ago, medals buried in the dark with stories nobody civilian would ever hear. She never thought she'd have to wear it again. But grief isn't logical. And when they took her daughter, they didn't just take a life. They woke up something raw, something you can't write rules for, something the city's police had no clue how to handle. So while the department put those cops on administrative leave, wrote out a bland statement about pending investigation, let the media spin the usual tragic misunderstanding tale, this mother moved like a shadow, not with hashtags or prayer circles, but with precision, with cold calculation, with contacts most folks don't even know exist. She didn't call news crews, she called people who answer to code names. Folks who pick up the phone in windowless rooms, command centers without official addresses while the city pretended everything was normal. She was tracing every thread, pulling on every loose end, burning favors, making calls that started to make things move. You ever seen a chess master just flip the whole board? That's what this was, and within 48 hours, things started slipping. Body cam footage that went missing suddenly popped up on a federal server. Background checks started leaking to the press, and the official story began to crack. She never said a word to a reporter, but the right people? Oh, they felt the heat. All of a sudden, those cops weren't just sweating an internal review. They were looking at federal agents who didn't come to play. Then she walked into that station not as a grieving mom, but as a commander who knew every back door, every loophole, every dirty trick in the book, and how to slam it shut. Some might call it revenge. But for her, it was protocol, plain and simple, the kind of protocol that doesn't do apologies or candlelight vigils. The chief of police got a visit from suits with no badges. Just questions each answer, making things worse for the department. The city tried to keep things quiet. The media moved on. But you could feel the tension hanging over every street like a thunderstorm waiting to snap. And here's the twist, because life's always got one. There was a rookie cop. Not one of the shooters, but young, green, still human enough to feel sick over what he'd seen. He reached out, anonymous, sent her the raw file, put his whole future on the line. In that footage, you saw everything. Her daughter, music still in her ears, surprise flickering in her eyes, 3 shots, no threat, just a kid and 3 men who saw her as a problem to erase. That video hit the oversight committee like a brick through stained glass. And suddenly, everything changed. She walked in, full dress uniform, face hard as stone, no tears, but you could feel the air shift. Every senator, every police chief, every single camera in the room locked on her, and she didn't plead, didn't break, just demanded federal review of use of force, national audits, real reforms, not just another thoughts and prayers. Circus, some senator tried her asked, "What does justice look like to you now?" And she didn't even blink, said, "Permanent change, not a memorial. Not another t-shirt, I want consequences." And that word, consequences, started rippling out, hitting communities, parents, other cities. Everywhere folks started talking. Old cases reopened, officers stepping down, and for once you felt like maybe, just maybe, the ground was shifting. The cops who'd fired, one quit, one tried to scrub evidence, one lawyered up, but the system that always protected them started to crumble, one piece at a time. Picture the final scene: police chief, forced to read a public apology, those officers stripped of their badges, real reforms inked into law, but Hershey wouldn't stand at any memorial, just looked the press straight in the eye and said, "I don't need candles, I need consequences." And suddenly her daughter's face wasn't just another portrait in a long, sad line. It was a rallying cry. The moment the cycle finally broke, because one mother refused to let her pain be swept under the rug. But here's the question, and maybe it's the only one that matters: does real change ever happen without pressure from the outside, without someone breaking every rule in the book to force the system's hand? Or are we doomed to keep adding names to that list until somebody finally says enough? Drop your thoughts below. Don't let silence be louder than a gunshot. Let's talk about what justice really means and who has to break the cycle to make it real.